So the iPhone 7 Plus and the iPhone 8 Plus have been out for many, many years now. So let's go and see how both these devices compare in 2023. Now, I probably wouldn't recommend these things being the first devices you pick up this year, but if you want to pick up some phones I would recommend this year, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the same time. Now, starting off side by side, you can definitely tell there are some, a bunch of similarities between these two devices. With the 7 Plus that came out in 2016, this was a pretty good change coming from the 6S Plus, although it did change a lot of few things. This was a 2016 phone. On the front, we had a 5.5-inch IPS panel. So it was 1080p, so it wasn't that low of a resolution, which was really nice. It looked pretty good, so this was another thing going for this specific device. But the thing, a couple things changed. One, Apple removed the headphone jack here, but also two, at least on the front, this Touch ID sensor was now pretty much it was a vibration motor instead of an actual button. So that was one thing that kind of clicked in too. But nonetheless, it still looks pretty good. There's not really too much to complain about here. With the iPhone 8 Plus, this was a pretty big upgrade too. So we kind of had like good upgrade after good upgrade on both these devices. So with the 8 Plus, we were getting the same type of display. It's the same size for the most part, but it is I wouldn't say it's a better display, but it's still a really nice display. A little bit of bezel on the top and bottom compared to the 7 Plus. The same type of home button as well, the vibration motor, which should be coming back with the iPhone 15 with the buttons on the sides. But I wouldn't say one is way better looking than the other one on the front. But there are some key areas where the 8 Plus honestly is a better phone. In terms of thickness and thickness, kind of the same thing too. There's not really that big of a difference here, as you guys can probably tell. They're both almost identically the same, which is a good thing. There's not really that big of a complaint there from my side. On the bottom, lightning ports as well. And on the back, we were getting, this is where the bigger differences are. So for one, they might look the same. I do have a cracked back on my 8 Plus, but we were getting a glass back on the iPhone 8 Plus, where we were not getting that on the 7 Plus. We were just getting that aluminum back, which still feels pretty good. There's not, doesn't really feel bad. But the 8 Plus definitely was the winner here. It definitely looks and performs much better, in my opinion, on something like the iPhone 8 Plus than on something like the 7 Plus. So that is kind of like another big thing to keep in mind with something like the 7 Plus or the iPhone 8 Plus. But I think the 8 Plus, just definitely still good. And I think the 7 Plus still looks good too. Now, on top of that, you were getting wireless charging on the iPhone 8 Plus and IP certification on both these phones, which was nice. The 7 Plus just did not have wireless charging. So kind of keep that in mind. And that kind of covers it up on the outside. I think both these phones still perform fairly well, for this day and age. And they're both more similar than not. But I definitely do think the iPhone 8 Plus is the more premium one when it comes down to it. Now, in terms of software and longevity, and this is something that changed a lot last year. So what ended up happening was the iPhone 7 Plus, pretty much, it came out in 2016, a year before the iPhone 8 Plus, but this phone kind of got discontinued with software. It got discontinued last year, so take that as you will. It's kind of a sad thing. I wish this phone could have kept getting supported with software, but that's not quite the case. So with a phone like the iPhone 7 Plus, that's pretty much where we're at. It's discontinued. It's still getting some security updates here and there, but for the most part, it's pretty much done. With the iPhone 8 Plus, it's still getting support, and I'm pretty sure iOS 16 may not even be the last version of software. It could very well end off at iOS 17 or iOS 17, and I think that'd be a really cool thing. So we're just gonna have to wait and see, but I guess that covers it up there. Now let's go into a speed comparison between both these devices. The iPhone 8 Plus has that Apple A11 Bionic chip inside of it with 3 gigabytes of RAM, where the iPhone 7 Plus has that Apple A10 Fusion chip inside of it with 3 gigs of RAM. So let's go and see which one's the faster one between all these ones. Okay, there we go. All the apps are cleared out in the background, as you guys can tell. So let's get into it. Phone calls, 3, 2, 1. Okay, 8 Plus is here, 7 Plus is here. Music, 3, 2, 1. And we were on 2 different panels here, so it's kind of tough to tell a little bit. But I think both of them were kind of more or less the same. Let's go and do settings, which I don't even have. 3, 2, 1. About the same thing too. Maybe the 8 Plus was a little bit faster. Let's go and do their app stores. 3, 2, 1. Okay. So 2 different panels on both as well. So I'm not really too sure which one's the faster one there. Scrolling through, let's see if there's a big difference. And kind of see that the 7 Plus is taking its time to load. I'm not really too sure what's up with that, but it's not like a massive deal, but it's kind of one thing that kind of stood out to me. Hopping out of here, let's go and get into some of these third-party applications. We do have Genshin Impact on both. We can try that out. 3, 2, 1. And this is a bigger game, so we'll just kind of wait until it loads into its main panel, and then we'll just kind of let it die out after that. But you can see the iPhone 8 Plus probably was the faster one here, followed by the 7 Plus a little bit behind. Nothing crazy, but just one of those things to kind of keep in mind. Hopping out of those two, let's go into some other ones. Let's try Snapchat. 3, 2, 1. Okay, iPhone 8 Plus I think was the faster one. We can try Temple. We can skip that one. Let's do Dropbox. 3, 2, 1. Okay, 8 Plus I think was the faster one again. Let's go and hop out of these two. Let's go and try the next one. Let's try BOFA. 3, 2, 1. And I think the iPhone 8 Plus again was the faster one here. So that's a good thing. We're seeing a recurring trend. Let's try Snake vs. Blocks. 3, 2, 1. It's just some of these apps take so long to load sometimes, which can be kind of annoying. And the iPhone 8 Plus was the faster one here too. Let's get into some speed. So both were glitching up like crazy. I think the 8 Plus glitched up a little bit less. So I don't know why it's always that spot that always glitches up the most for these phones. Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. And I think this will probably end it off. But so far, the iPhone 8 Plus has done a tremendous job. And it's pretty much loaded up every single app faster than the other ones. And this one, of course, we get into a little thing. But it kind of looked like the 8 Plus was going faster too. And even if we give this one like another second or two leeway, I mean, the iPhone 8 Plus was, I think, still the faster one when it came down to it. So, for sure, the iPhone 8 Plus, I think, is the faster one for sure. The iPhone 7 Plus now is, kind of getting that low power mode thing. But regardless, I think the iPhone 8 Plus is probably the faster one when it comes down to it. Now, in the speed or in the camera department, I'll definitely tell you between both phones, they have great cameras. For their age, I think it's pretty, cool. I will say, though, the iPhone 8 Plus probably was the more impactful one because it was the first one to bring a dual camera setup on their iPhones. So I think that was something that was cool. I think the iPhone 8 Plus still sits in a really, really good spot, though. So between both 4K at 60 on the back, you have 1080p on the front, I guess, on both of them. With something like the iPhone 8 Plus, I think this, or the 7 Plus for that matter, the camera is more or less what you'd expect. I mean, it's not that great of a camera, honestly, on either one of these. You're getting 10x zoom, though, which is pretty impressive. It's just kind of good of how old these cameras are, if that makes sense. Like, it's an old phone, so it actually does have a pretty, good camera for how old this phone is. It's just not that good of a camera in today's standards. You have things like portrait mode, square mode, you have panorama mode, video mode, slow mode, time lapse. So both these phones pretty much have the same type of capability, so there's not too much overlap there. But it is really nice that we still have a phone that still has somewhat of a decent camera overall. So this phone is pretty okay. The iPhone 8 Plus is a better camera though. I'll definitely say it's a better image that you're getting from this type of lens, which is nice. And I don't know if iOS 16 brought any like improvements in the camera, but it is nice that we still have a phone that's still pretty decent. Overall, there's not too much to complain about here. You have video mode, time lapse, photo, portrait mode, still a lot of good stuff. Probably say the 7 Plus might be the better one when it comes, or the 8 Plus is the better one when it comes down to it. But neither one of these phones have like tremendous cameras anymore. So to kind of sum up this video, what I'll tell you is I definitely do think a phone like the iPhone 8 Plus still, sits in a good spot. I think this is definitely the better one. It's still supported with software. And if there's one you have to buy between these two, this is the only one I would recommend buying. I wouldn't recommend buying a 7 Plus anymore because it's unsupported with software. So the 8 Plus is clearly the winner here. But if you want to have a side phone of some sort and you want it to just, I guess, be supported with software, well, the 7 Plus is still kind of supported sometimes. So this might be something you can try out, but for the most part, I probably would just recommend going for the iPhone 8 Plus. So that pretty much covers it up. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.